And we are back with another session of the Scale of Fate um, with our Chaos crew, our Thursday party, which will be the Friday party for sessions going on forward until the final session. So previously, you all, after arriving in the town of Danskar and seeing a somewhat distressed merchant and several other people standing around an alleyway, looking upon a cart producing a kind of dark haze, you all decided, against probably better judgment, to go into said cart. Exploring around, finding the interior to be somewhat decaying and filled with this necrotic tar-like substance, and also discovering that there seemed to be multiple pocket dimensions within this space that seem to be converging together and trying to rip apart from each other. You all made your way deeper into this place until entering a large room filled with this tar-like substance, discovering a orb that from it came a humanoid tarman, is the only thing I can describe it as. Who you ended up fighting for a fairly decent amount of time before you were given every single nightmare that it could produce within mere moments. Waking up outside a destroyed cart and with the help of the aid of the town guard, getting cleaned up. And still, this would be the following morning because we did kind of end it on like you guys going to sleep. You would have gotten your stuff, Errol, but you all wake up the next morning. Some of you not sleeping too well due to the still very very fresh nightmares within your heads. But you do. I think you. If I remember, did you all sleep in the guard's place, or did you go to the tavern? I can't remember.
I don't think we decided.
I'm gonna say you slept in the guard's place. If it wasn't decided, you slept in the guard's tower because they would have had space. Um, which one of you thinks you'd be awake first? This is a very important question.
I'm gonna roll to determine because I'm too lazy.
Roll to determine if it's me.
Alright, I got a 12. Would you say I wake up?
Is there anyone else that wants to take the lead on waking up first? Or I know Journey won't wake up first. We've kind of established Journey's sleep schedule.
Errol would wake up. He's gonna talk to. He has questions for Dalgamine.
Okay. You're just gonna get up and meditate?
Mm-hmm.
Would you look around the room before you did it, or would you go straight into meditating?
I mean, I'll quickly glance. Is Toothless there? I
Toothless
don't
is
know. Is
at
the building on fire?
Toothless is at the foot of the bed. The others are sleeping. You do see Cal kind of off on his own in a corner meditating himself.
Oh, Errol would finish writing his letter real quick, and then he would sneak over to Journey. And
Okay.
what kind of armor are you wearing?
Journey wears
She wouldn't be wearing it to sleep because you don't
yeah.
get
Yeah,
rested in your
I'm not
armor.
sleeping my arm. I'm not sleeping
What?
it in long.
What? You have a bag of holding?
Yeah, I do.
What is okay? Actually, no. What's your instrument?
It plays a lute. It's specifically an instrument of scribing.
All right. Arrow will just kind of look around at these items, and he'd go back. He'll deposit the letter another time. He has special instructions for it. Um, I don't know. Are there windows in here?
There are windows.
Oh yeah, I'll look out the window before going to talk to Delgamine. While I'm doing this, I'll just be like, are you able to read my thoughts, Delgamine?
There's a bit of quiet at first, and you feel a slight bit of stirring from him before he says, "We are linked mentally, yes."
What are your thoughts on the plan, if all else fails?
It would be a shame to see that happen. But I couldn't confirm the fate of your soul if it did.
Hmm. It would give me some peace knowing that you at least have it. I'd prefer a friend have my soul than an enemy.
Well, I don't know if I'd necessarily do with it as I do with others. You
Hmm.
interest me. With
Keep
all
it to reminisce.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna go into a trance. I want to try to speak. I'm gonna try to bring both Dalgamane and the Hellman.
Okay. Roll me. What did I have you roll in the past? Straight wisdom?
Yeah, straight wisdom.
Where's my
That
ice
is 22.
A 22. Damn, that's a good roll.
I don't think I have proficiency yet. No, that's just my wisdom modifier.
You're getting pretty good at this. Dalgamane sitting within this kind of space within your mind. You see Dalgamane sitting before you. His almost endless form kind of towering over you as he kind of sits there and just kind of stares at you expectingly. Um, and then to your left, you do see the Wendigo itself, the spirit of it, um, as it's kind of crouched down, almost huddled, and seems to be. It's not really paying you. It almost seems docile, like it's not moving.
Yeah, Errol would face the Wendigo. Can you understand me, beast?
It produces a very low growl. It doesn't move though,
Mm, I,
and the growl itself is kind of, I would say, similar to the xenomorph. It's kind of that clicking growl that it makes. If you know the one I'm talking about.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As long as it acknowledged, that's all that matters. Well, to be honest, I've never given much thought uh, of death, but seeing how we're going forward, I think it's best to fill you two in on what might happen. Dalgamine, on your part, I know we just have a contract, so I'm assuming you'll be fine. But my famished friend over here, I don't know how things are going to turn out for you. That's why I need both of you to cooperate for what comes.
The Wendigo itself almost seems to shift slightly, but it doesn't look at you, but it just kind of shifts in its position and produces another one of those growls.
Dalgamine, I'm pretty sure you understand the situation well. But you, in the fight, I think it would be best that you maybe not try to harm me like you did last time. Because if I die, the likelihood of you remaining in this plane is very slim, my friend.
Now, real quick, this is just DM to player. Are we talking when it got ripped out of you, or when you blacked out
Oh
because
yeah,
of it?
I got ripped out of me. Or was it? Was that? Yeah. When I got ripped out of me, because that's when he was all fucked up after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't say it, or it doesn't make any noise at first. It kind of sits there, and it's head slightly turns towards you, and you can see in its eyes, or eye, the one eye that is looking upon you, um, almost a frustration and a wouldn't quite be rage, but it almost seems to kind of what you pull from it is almost as if you misunderstand what happened. As it doesn't seem to understand what you mean against it, if that makes sense.
Earl's gonna kind of cock his head. He's gonna look over at Dalgamane. He goes, I think it's confused. I don't have any way to communicate with this. Let me check, actually. Hold up. Am I the high enough level? I'm checking to see if I
If
have.
you have universal language or whatever the heck it's called.
Yeah. What level am I? Shit, I'm one off. God damn it.
You're one off.
I was gonna get up and go and approach him.
It produces the not the same growl from before, but a more of a deeper, more feral type of like warding type growl.
He's just gonna stretch out his hand and go, I mean no harm. Only wish to communicate better.
Dalgamane kind of from behind you just says, it's only acting on instincts. It doesn't fully understand what has happened to it.
I'm gonna crouch down, and instead of where it'd be an outstretched hand, he's gonna have it where it's palm facing up towards the creature. Is it restrained at all, or can it move?
It is perfectly in the open. Like there's nothing holding it down. It has just been
Okay.
it has just been like crouched in like almost a not quite a fetal position, but kind of like curled up.
Yeah, he's just gonna Errol's gonna squat down and open palm stretched out.
I need to see what I want to make you roll for this.
Is it an animal?
It's not animal handling because it's not quite a regular animal, but it almost is at the same time. That's the problem I'm having in my head. What is your animal handling and what is your persuasion?
So animal handling is a +5. Persuasion is a +1. I'm not very persuasive. I just do.
Roll me a roll with a +3.
Okay.
I'm making you do a mix of persuasion and animal handling because it's intelligent, but it's not quite.
I don't know if this is high enough. Is a 16 good?
A 16. That's pretty good. It snaps its jaws a little bit, not quite close enough to bite you, but almost the same warding way as before. And its eyes
I'm not...
are just kind of staring at you in a sort of. Now it looks a little pissed off.
Oh, now it's pissed. Oh, shit.
Kind of like when you approach a wolf that doesn't want you to be near it.
Except it's a massive.
Except for
monstrosity.
it's like 15 feet tall.
Yeah.
Probably disembowel you with a single strike. Yeah.
Would I know if I could be harmed in my own meditation?
I would say roll me.
I don't even know if that's a thing. Where am I? In my own head? Is that where I'm at?
You're in your own head. This is kind of like a mental state type thing.
Oh, if I'm in my own head, can I try to manifest some food on my hand? It's not real, but I think it would get the point across.
wisdom check to see if you can do this.
This is either gonna go. Oh, that's an 18. All right.
You're able to manifest a decent kind of. What are you trying to make specifically? Actually,
Just raw meat.
okay, you manifest a pretty decent chunk of like flesh, kind of like a large steak, sort of thing. And it kind of the rage is still there, but it seems to be unmoved now. And there's a ever so slight hint of curiosity.
It's not moving towards him or away from him.
No, it snapped its jaws at you like within inches of your hand, but it hasn't moved again. It is like puffing out its nose, and your hand is getting hit with this kind of like warm, like rotten smelling breath.
I'm just gonna place it down. See what. Push it away from me a little bit.
It keeps its eyes on you as you do this, and it kind of moves a claw to it and like touches it. And the moment it realizes that it is physical in the sense of where you are, you both can mess with it. It immediately scarfs it down. And it almost seems to like produce like a billow noise, like what a gator would do. Thing's making a lot of weird noises. I'm just like, this is what I think a Wendigo would sound like. Just a lot of different predators.
Stretch the hand out again, see if it gets the memo this time.
Roll that check again. This time you can do the straight animal handling though.
Oh hell yeah! It is an animal.
Because it's the route you're taking is more animal handling.
That is a 21.
21. It does not move and allows you to touch the bony snout.
I'm just gonna pet him. That's it. Yeah.
You kind
Do
of
I
get.
feel any mental connection now?
There's no mental connection, but you do feel that when that event occurred, when it was torn from you, you do get the idea that it was acting on instinct, as it is always fed on the people that it's are held very close, like very tightly to the souls of those it's taken over or attempted to take over. And that it never meant to make you feel hollow afterwards. It's just the result of how it interacts with those that it's being hosted by. If that makes sense.
He would just continue petting as he begins speaking. He goes, "Oh, you poor creature. That wasn't intentional. I apologize for accusing you then. Thought that was an attack."
You also get the idea while doing this. The reason it happened is being broken from it so quickly, you were still feeling the same hunger it always feels. And that's what that hollow feeling was. Was the lack of like anything. Because it's always hungry and always trying to eat. If that makes sense.
Okay. All right. While continuing to pet it, not breaking eye contact, because you don't really want to turn your back to a big fuck off predator. I was gonna say, Dalgaman, if we were to obtain more souls, do you think that would better prepare us for what comes?
It's a possibility. Depends on the souls.
None of those weird voodoo ones. Whatever.
You mean the ones that I still haven't figured out what to do with their energy?
Yeah, those things, the spooky souls.
Definitely not one of those.
I think it's time that everyone has some breakfast. Wouldn't you agree, my bony friend? Yeah, now he's speaking to you, the Wendigo.
It kind of slightly lifts its head. Roll me a perception check real quick.
Oh, you know how that's gonna go.
I
That's
do know.
that 15 plus modifier. That's a 30. That's a natural 20. That is a 35.
You notice on the outskirts of your mind, as you are kind of standing here having this conversation, you notice movement, some sort of dark energy moving about. And before you can react, though you are prepared for this, before you can react, though, you feel as if you have been punched in the gut. And you are snapped back to reality. You vomit over the side of your bed. This black
see
ooze.
who's standing.
It's just you. But you vomit over the side of your bed. This black, almost tar-like ooze that, upon hitting the ground, actually burns through the wood flooring of the ground and begins to sink into the dirt below it. And you puke up a lot of this stuff.
It's not on my notes that the Wendigo's blood didn't do that.
No.
So that's a correct statement. Okay. So my notes aren't lying to me.
No, that is correct. The Wendigo did not do that to you.
Errol's just kind of looking around.
You do feel cleansed in some way. And Dalgaman does stir once again and say that may have been the result of the energy we've been holding.
What the hell is? Huh?
And your mouth and throat are burning.
Oh, I need alcohol. Shit, and he's just gonna rummage through his bag. The only liquid I really have right now is viper venom, so I'm just uncorking
you downing viper venom,
knocking these back. He's gonna knock one back, right? And then the second one, does that help at all? The first vial.
It coats your throat in a way that it kind of like, because venom is a thicker liquid.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like if you drink milk after eating something hot. It kind of coats like your mouth. Except for this doesn't taste good. It doesn't taste like milk. The venom tastes very foul and awful. But it's better than the burning sensation, I guess. By the second one, the burning has subsided to like a tingling, but it's not as bad. You're still coughing, but like it doesn't feel like you're burning your insides anymore.
Oh no, I wasn't. So the first one would knock back, and he just kind of coughing. Oh shit, tastes like mother's cooking. Knocks back the other one, throws it back, gargles with it, spits it down the hole that has now been burned through the floor.
All right.
It's kind of like, what the fuck? And Errol's gonna turn around and see if Cal has noticed this.
You have now noticed that Cal has his tarot cards floating around him, and there are 3 that seem to be in front of him that are spinning in a circle.
Shit!
His eyes are closed, and he is meditating right now, but his eyes are closed.
Is anyone else awake?
I would say by your uproar of vomiting, Journey, you would have been woken up, and Draka's on the roof, so he would be somewhere else. He's unknowing of this. Galnora is still snoring. Galnora, she sleeps like a bear. No pun intended.
Guessing Leo and Dread are also asleep. Oh, speak of the devil.
He woke up too, because now he's here.
All right.
I was asleep. That's why I wasn't.
And Dread is off. Magnus isn't in here. Magnus seemed to have slipped out.
What do you mean in here?
Like, you guys are sleeping in a large room. You woke up to the sound of Errol vomiting.
Classic Errol.
Errol,
What the F, dude?
And I will say, the rest of you catch the scent of something very similar to the tar that you experienced yesterday.
You're just gonna kind of roll over onto her stomach and kind of look down at the floor and see.
You
That's
see a
fine.
hole burned in the ground.
Jeez, do you feel better now?
It's like a coffee shit, I feel cleansed, but that's not important right now. We got some voodoo stuff going on. And he points over to Cal with the cards.
And you see him like he's the classic meditation pose, like sitting there, legs crossed, hands kind of rested on either knee. His cards kind of spinning around him, rather most of them rather rapidly. It's almost like a storm around him. But there's the three that are floating in front of him that seem to be kind of almost circling around, just inches in front of his lap.
Nice.
I'd go over to see what they are.
So, looking at the cards with your perception, it's quite easy. There are 3 cards. The first one you notice, you remember it going by the name the Plague, which is decay and rot, bordering the card. One side of it, a pair of rotten, diseased hands outstretched, which seem to be facing inwards into the circle, as rat run towards the other end of the card. Or no, sorry, the hands are on the side of the card that is near the center of the circle, and the opposite end of the card seems to be stretching away from it. The next card you see is you've only seen pulled once or twice by him, which is the Void. It was a hole. It depicts a hole within the fabric of reality, a black abyss where nothing is found, is depicted in the center of the card. And then the last is the card you know as the Beacon of Hope and the Beacon of Doom, with the Beacon of Doom being the active side of the card, as it is the one facing the correct way for that to occur. And these cards are just spinning round and round and round, almost like a fan.
This is Errol's response.
No.
No, wait,
No. Got his cowboy hat and everything, and now he's freaking the fuck out.
Well, looks like we're in for a doozy. Should we wake him? I did it last time, so it's someone else's turn.
Oh man, it looks like
Someone-
he's having a great time.
It's someone else's turn to wake up the voodoo man.
This man looks like he needs an exorcism. When is that a great time? Leo, what kind of stuff do you get up to?
Like the 5th.
This ain't America.
How do you know that name? How do you know that name?
Jeremy just gonna poke Cal using Mage Hand.
Okay.
Errol's gonna kind of just wipe off some of the. Does he still have some of the sludge? on his mouth?
You have a mixture of the black ooze as well as a thick green viscous liquid, which is the venom.
He's gonna wipe that off.
You look like you've had a
Continue looking
terrible
at
night.
Cal, and then just whip his hand in Leo's direction, very rapidly.
I want to dodge it.
I need
both
to
of-
roll an attack.
You roll an attack. You can roll a dex saving throw, Leo.
Oh, I have to roll to dodge?
Yeah.
Man, that sucks.
Would this be considered an unarmored strike?
Yes.
Oh, hell yeah. And a +10 on that sucker. I wish you. I hope you're
who would have
bulletproof. 'Cause
thought?
this is
I
about
got
to
a
hurt.
fucking 9. Who would have?
This-
Why do I keep forgetting to use my new die? What is wrong with me?
You were slapped
I
in
mean, I
the
already
face.
rolled. but
24.
You were slapped in the face.
I will not take this. I will not take this blatant disrespect standing up. I want to go lie back down.
Classic Leo move. All right. As you kind of shake his shoulder using Mage Hand, his eyes shoot open. They are whited out. This is the second time you've seen this happen. And
Errol's gonna run behind Journey, like hide behind her leg.
You all hear within your minds, including Andraco, who's not in the room. You hear him. It sounds like him and a chorus of like other voices, and you hear them all just kind of shout at the same time. He wanted this. He planned for this, and now we all must suffer for it. And then all the cards drop, and he lets out a gasp, and then sits forward and blinks several times. And seems a bit confused on what happened.
Hey, buddy, you feeling okay?
He kind of shakes his head a little bit and looks up and just says, I'm fine. Did something happen? And he looks around at the cards that are around him and notices the three in front of him. Kind of clenches his jaw.
Yeah, you had a little episode. Also, we all got weird telepathic message. It's kind of ominous. And also, Errol threw up and burned a hole through the floor, so that was an interesting thing to wake up to.
It wasn't intentional. I didn't drink a lot.
Oh,
think.
I didn't drink a lot. He kind of nods and he continues to kind of stare at the cards for a moment before reaching down and picking them up, and kind of quickly beginning to pick up his cards without a word.
Question.
Yes.
Is this the same voice I heard in my vision in the bathtub?
No. The voice you heard sounded like other people. Almost as if he wasn't the only one who was having this little episode. It was almost like a legion of individuals that said this all at once. If that makes sense.
Okay. All right. Just making sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is a sign. Call it good, call it bad, whatever you believe in. We're in for an adventure?
Yay!
I love your enthusiasm. Also, I have this for you, Journey. And then Errol's gonna produce a letter. Don't open it just yet. You'll know when to open it. Just don't do it right now.
She'll kind of take it from your little hand, and she'll look at it for a second before putting it in her bag of holding.
Well, now that's out of the way. Who's hungry?
Leo is going to sit up with a huge wide smile on his face.
You hear Galnora let out a yawn from where she's laying and kind of stretches out. The beds that you all laid on, she barely fits on hers. But she seems to have slept comfortably. Kind of starts getting up, kind of stretching. Hasn't really noticed the rest of you are awake. She's just kind of in her own head right now. Cal kind of quickly, like as he finishes putting away his cards, he tucks them away and kind of slowly sits back down on his bed and just goes back into like a state of just deep thought.
Is the roof directly above us?
Yes.
All right.
Not the full
Errol's
roof. Like
gonna-
you're like in a large building. It's like 2 stories. And Draco would have gone to a different roof that's nearby.
Oh, damn it. I was about to fly and kick the roof. Wake him up.
He'd be awake. He would have woken up the moment the sun hit him.
Errol's gonna pop his head out the window and go, wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey. We got visions of death in our future and black sludge on the floor. I hope you're hungry. Do I get a response?
No.
There are people in the streets that are staring at you confused.
Errol's gonna like haphazardly wave his hand around and go, "Good morning, fuckers. I'm here to kick ass and eat food. And I hope
agree
none
with
of
that
you are
statement.
sinners, because I'm coming for you next." And then he's popping back in.
Leo's gonna say, "Coming for us, yo."
Lord.
We don't worry about that. This is the guard's house, right? Do you think they have a basement with convicted felons?
No.
Oh. Who said no?
Me.
Am I hearing voices? Who's that talking to me? Is this God? Good. Errol's gonna go wide-eyed and go, "Oh, I've reached enlightenment."
Yes, it's me, God.
Sorry, I had to do it.
What does God need with a spaceship?
What
Can
does
I-
God need with the spaceship?
Did I say Errol heard a voice say no, and now he's convinced that he's enlightened?
Yes. It was just outside. You heard some random person yell no. And you're just like, oh, that was God.
Journey gonna look over to Galnora. Morning. Yeah, you don't really miss anything of consequence. Or I go get a bite to eat or something.
I'm gonna go shit on the floor, and Errol kicks the door open and walks out.
Tiny man kicks open the door.
Oh, romantic.
She just kind of, as she watches this, she says, I could eat. Though, what is that stench?
Well, little owl dude vomited up weird fire tar. I don't know. I was asleep when it happened. All I know is there's a hole in the floor, and we should probably move something over it.
Errol's gonna pop his head back in and go, "It's because I piss excellency."
Actually, can I cast mending on it?
Yeah, the hole is smaller than a foot, so yeah.
Like, actually, I've been waiting to try this.
Because Errol
And she'll-
pukes, and he can't puke that much. But
The journey will use mending to repair the floor.
you repair the floor, covering up the
If-
toxic tar underneath the ground, or in the ground underneath it.
I keep forgetting I'm so small. I can just
Yeah.
picture this little owl.
You puked as much as like a medium-sized dog. Like it wasn't much.
Journey will kind of like slap her hands together, like when you're like hitting the dust off your hands, like with a self-satisfied look on her face, and we'll kind of look at Gally before like heading for the door.
She gives you a smile and follows suit. Cal kind of lingering for a moment before getting up himself and kind of following behind. Are you following them, Leo?
Yeah.
Okay. So you all head out.
Um,
I assume you guys are
I
going
was-
to a tavern to get food.
Oh, I was gonna go pester one of the guards to figure out where they keep captured prisoners,
Hmm.
convicts.
Yeah, it's not hard to find a guard. So you'd find one of the ones you'd seen yesterday. Kind of walking through the streets doing their patrol. How do you want to have this interaction?
I'm up front. Just, hey, where do you guys put prisoners?
He's kind of taken aback by just the bluntness of this, and just kind of
In
stares at you for a moment and just says, well, we have a jailhouse, but there hasn't been too many incidences recently that warrant anyone getting put in there.
Hmm. You got any gangs? Right? I don't know, murderers. I'm looking for some bad people.
Kind of scratches his chin a little bit. He's kind of like thinking and just says, not that I necessarily know of. It's relatively quiet here, except for, the incident yesterday.
No real crime syndicates, nothing. That's upsetting.
We're kind of just a trade town. There's not a whole lot that happens here.
Mm. Well, I can't. Well, this is a dilemma. I need food, but there's no bad guys. That's upsetting.
Now he's really
Errol's
confused.
saying all of this out
Yeah,
loud.
the guard's getting increasingly confused and a
Jerry's
little
just
concerned.
Have you tried eating normal food?
Yeah, but it doesn't work. See, the Wendigo needs corpses, and Dalgamane needs souls. So I think that the best happy medium for that is bad people. But there's no bad people, and I can't kill innocent people because I'm not a bad person. Would you consider me a bad person? I think I'm pretty neutral. More like that, like chaotic lawful kind of line. Errol like waves his hand out, like the 50-50.
The guard looks almost distraught by this whole thing and does not know what to do or how to respond. He's just kind of sitting there going, he's kind of stuck.
I'm gonna give him a thumbs up with a smile behind Errol.
I hope you have a good rest of your day, guard person, man. Are you a man? I'm sorry for assuming your gender.
Guard person.
God damn it. Errol's progressive. Fuck. I wasn't ready for Errol to be a progressive.
He didn't see it coming.
It's the act. It's to kind of keep everyone on their toes.
I'm the wild card.
Yeah, he just kind of nods at you. Just unable to muster words at the moment.
All right, Ariel's gonna start waving, and I'm guessing the guard starts walking away. He's like, "Have a nice day. I hope you sleep well, and that your family's safe and comfortable, and that no evil deer-headed skull corpse thing comes after you."
You should say that was a threat. It would be funny, I think.
Make sure to piss excellency. Well, that was fun.
He's just frozen in place as you walk off. And he may or may not need to change his pants later.
Would Errol notice that he pissed himself?
He didn't piss himself in front of you, but you definitely tell that if he needed to piss, he probably would have.
Errol's gonna like the owl head swivel back around and be like, "Don't be afraid, bud. Just let it loose. You only got one life, and honestly, we got that shit in the sky."
He's walking around with his head turned backwards. Damn owls, man.
I got that high perception. We're chilling.
Yes. All right. And Draco, you do see the others walking past this guard.
Mm-hmm.
You just gonna sit on the roof and not move?
Yep.
All right. Errol, you can see Andraka, because if he can see you, you can see him.
Let's stop and stare at him. Errol's not moving until one of us moves.
Journey's just gonna pick him up by the scruff of his neck and put him on her shoulder and just walk to like the tavern or whatever.
All right.
I'm gonna do the ICU hand gesture.
Squints eyes. Points.
Points fingers.
You all slip into the local tavern. Looks to have kind of the morning kind of, you could call it a morning rush hour. It's mainly like farmers in here that are getting breakfast before going out in the field and stuff like that. Those who are late to getting out to the field, that is. Um, so it's not packed, but it's fairly busy. Um, it takes you probably about 30 minutes to get food.
I'm gonna order some food, and raw
Can I
meat
order
for
a hot dog?
my buddy Toothless here.
Okay, yeah, they do that. I would say it probably in total the whole thing for all of you would probably be like 3 gold pieces.
Errol's gonna give him 10.
Take my money.
Is it three? Is it 3 each or 3 for all?
For everyone. That was Errol's just giving him 10 because Errol doesn't have concept of money.
I'm gonna also gonna roll for what is it? Sleight of hand. Try to pickpocket.
Okay.
I got a 30. That's a crit.
Oh
Well,
fucking hell. Well, let's put it this way: you pay for your meal via the money other people had.
do I get any extra, or just are you saying I pay for the
You
money?
you pay
I
for
the food.
the people here do not have that much money,
That was fine. All right.
except for the one that lost his cart. But
Oh yeah. While I'm pickpocketing, I think of that guy. Oh damn! I should have robbed him.
I should have robbed that guy. All right.
I say that out loud. All right. Just leave.
So you guys eat breakfast. Head back out of the tavern. Are you trying to get to Andraka, or what's you doing?
Yes.
Okay.
Could I shadow step behind him?
He's where it's sunny. There is no shadows.
He doesn't have a shadow underneath him?
Ooh. You wouldn't be able to visibly see it though.
Oh, fair. Yeah.
As cool as that would be.
Errol's gonna fly up to him. You know the Spider-Man meme where it's like Miles Morales mimicking Spider-Man?
I think so. I think I know what you're talking
Yeah. Yeah, I'm doing that with Andraka.
Any thoughts on Draco?
No.
There is no thoughts behind those eyes.
That's fine. Errol's an expert at that.
Why do I picture as you do this? He blinks, fucking Andraka blinks one eye at a time. And it's just a
Or
really like violent like sounding blink.
I'm just
I would-
imagining licking his eye.
He licks his eye like a gecko.
Errol's gonna try to mimic him.
Oh wait, you can't see his face. He's wearing a wooden mask. I forgot about that. Yeah, he's Majora's Mask up here. He's just sitting there, just like no expression because he can't make one.
Hmm. Where to, big man?
I just point at the island.
Alright. How do you plan to get there?
I don't say anything.
Good talk. Love this plan. Alright. So we're here, and he draws like a shape with his hand. And he goes, so we're here, an island's here. We just get to the island. Got it. I'll send the word.
Okay. And as you kind of
All right, everyone. Andraka came up with an amazing plan. So we need to go to the island, but how we're gonna do it is we're just gonna get to the island. Any questions?
I have a question.
Answer.
Like, do you want me to say the answer to my question?
Yes.
4.
What'd you say?
Said 4.
Good answer. Journey,
you.
thoughts.
Where? Hold on. Where? Where are they?
They have
Where? Huh?
Yeah.
no
Said there are
thoughts.
thoughts here. Where?
No thoughts?
Cal is gonna facepalm.
Where's the thoughts? Unfortunately, the thoughts are on the island as well, so we have limited access.
I don't
Any
know
other
if that's
questions?
unfortunate. We're going there.
Yes, we're getting there instantly. How?
Um,
5.
Next question. No, it was no. The answer was 4.
This conversation
No,
sucks.
answer on how is 5.
I know.
Next
The
question.
answer that answer is 4. I answered it already.
Oh, you're wrong.
Yeah.
It's 5. Next question.
Actually, now that I think about it, it does make sense. It's 5.
I'm glad you see my genius.
Yeah, I apologize.
You're okay.
Anyways, next question. Answer.
Yes.
Perfect.
All right, glad everyone understands the plan. Let's go. Errol's
So-
going to start walking off very confidently.
As you kind of walk off, you hear
Slowly.
Cal mutter under his breath, "I'm either going to lose my mind from these blackouts or from these people asking these questions."
Errol's going to snap his head around and go, possibly. We'll find out. Do you have a therapist? You might need one.
Hey,
Anyways.
I heard you don't want to hear the other name people have for him.
Politicians.
So I'd be careful. What?
Wait,
That's not what I meant.
Errol keeps walking.
Errol, as you're walking off, you do notice towards like the edge of town, you do see someone. They're kind of floating in the air, like probably 15 feet off the ground, just kind of staring in the direction of the island with their arms crossed, their back to you. The cloak around them kind of shifting in the wind as their hood is up.
Are there any nearby pebbles?
Yeah, you could find a pebble.
I want to kick a pebble.
Where are you kicking it?
Where do you think?
At
Let's
the-
let's
you-
think about this.
You trying to hit the guy with it?
Yeah.
Roll an attack roll with disadvantage.
What attack? Like, what am
Just,
I? I'll use dart. I'll
Yeah,
use
it'd be the
dart for
equivalent of a
this.
dart, yeah.
14. Oh wait. Yeah, 14. We're fine.
14. The pebble flies past him, this individual. Kind of missing him by like about a foot. And they kind of glance back in your direction, and you recognize it as the tabaxi from the day before.
A tabaxi from the day before.
The inventor guy who owned the cart. The artificer.
Oh, it's you. What's up?
You see him kind
Apologies
of
for the rock.
slowly
knows you.
sink back down to the ground, kind of gently landing, and then turning and just says, I didn't think all of you were still in town. I thought you had left.
Well, you see, we're going to that island. How? Yes.
No, it was 5.
Sorry, 5. When? I really don't know.
Yes.
What about you?
I have no plans of going that way. Kind of just he's a little confused by you, like what you've just said to him. He didn't seem to fully track what you're meaning by any of the words that you're saying. He says, I'm just curious of the source of the chaos there.
Oh, that's easy. Ask Wooden Man, and he points up to. Is Androck? Are you still up on top of the tower?
Yeah.
He's still on the
He
roof of the
he
building.
points. He points to Wooden Man posing like Jesus at the moment.
The artificer's gonna Reginald. I do remember he told you his name, Reginald. He's gonna kind of gesture towards you, Andraka, see if you will come and speak with him.
I will not.
Yeah, he doesn't speak much. Don't get me wrong, great companion. When we're in the shitter, he'll do some wild stuff, but If you think you're gonna get an answer out of him, I am sorry for wasting your time.
I wonder if there's anything that
Unless
might.
you could read his mind.
I wonder if there's anything that might interest him, and he's gonna kind of glance back towards Andraka again. And as he kind of looks towards Andraka, you do see, kind of near, That was my
Oh,
dryer.
God.
That was my dryer. It's very violent. I'm gonna go make it not do that in a second. But you see, behind him, next to a building of what you'd originally just thought there was just, stuff sitting there. A construct kind of sits up and comes kind of walking over and stands beside him. As well as from underneath his hood, as the hood kind of drops off of him, you do see this kind of small, almost mechanical dragon kind of peek its head out from underneath the hood.
What's that?
Oh, which one are you pointing at?
The dragon.
It says, this is something I built, well, long ago.
Oh, are you an artificer?
Yes.
Interesting. Haven't met very many. Our buddy over here is one, but again, he doesn't speak much.
I kind of guessed as much from our few interactions.
Are you trying to restock or rebuild your shop then?
Eventually, yes. For the time being, I need to be able to actually get a new one.
Well, if you're looking for magical items, there's a tabaxi that's been collecting magical items and storing them in her hoard. She kills dragons and absorbs them. She recently stole the hoard of an ice dragon. So, we end up killing her. She kills us. You'll figure it out one way or another. But I don't know. Shit. I'll give you a notice, a letter. I don't know. How do you want to communicate? Can I get your snap?
He thinks for a second, and he pulls out a set of stones.
Sending stones. Okay.
And he kind of offers you one of them. Just says, this could be a means of reaching me.
Errol will accept one and then goes, I don't think I properly introduced myself. The name's Errol. From Riverdale.
Kind of gives a slight nod. He says, well, you know my first name, but the full name is Reginald, what the fuck, Reginald, Reginald Calistium.
Oh, if we're doing last names, it's Foulclaw, but I don't use that much anymore.
I don't quite associate myself with home, so
You
I
and
felt
me
only right.
both. I haven't been back there in a while. Maybe at the end of this. I might end up there. We'll have to see.
I made an attempt to get into that city once. The guard there was not pleased.
What do you look like?
Well, I mean the guard in general. I had to be chased out by 20 different individuals.
Just be glad they didn't send the monks on you. That would have been bad.
Well, they weren't able to, shit, I need to fix that. They weren't able to, necessarily catch up with me, and that's how I got this. And he kind of pulls the cloak back a little bit, and you see this, very nice looking rapier. The hilt itself looks to be made of, like, some sort of like frosty blue wood. With
Would I recognize it at all?
it's a material that is found in Tiberia.
Okay.
And some of the gemstones on it, you can see there are also carvings that are in avian along the kind of the hilt of the blade.
A question, and it may be a little odd. Call me uneducated. I don't know much about artificers, but would you be able to add some runes or enchants to a weapon?
It would take time, but I have done a bit of enchanting in my time.
How long are you thinking?
It depends on the enchantment.
I was gonna turn around and yell for Anjaraka, and then just gesture for him to come over here.
Picture you
I'll
frantically
go
just
over there.
I was just gonna wait for him to like. I'm guessing it's like a saunter over.
He's like an angsty teen. All right.
Andraka, where are we heading? I know the floating island, but you know, are we just walking straight there?
I don't know.
He's gonna turn back to Reginald and go, "Where are you heading?"
I haven't decided that myself either.
Well, how about this? If you end up heading the same direction, would you be able to enchant something for me? And he's gonna pull out. You know, shit, I don't even know how to say it. The sickle and the chains.
Oh, your little fun toy.
Kusagari, I think is how you
Yeah.
pronounce it.
He kind of takes it from you and looks it over and just says, what type of enchantment are you looking for specifically?
Well, it's possible.
We can
I don't know what I'm working with here.
We can do a slight enhancement to increase its effectiveness in battle. We can possibly imbue it with a spell. Elemental capabilities are possible as well, but those take a bit of time. And if we did the spell, it depends on what spell you're wanting.
If we were to imbue it with a spell, it would probably be this portion, and he'd gesture towards the mace end of the chain. And Daryl would then go on to say, the way is used is you could use that to strike an opponent, or you could use it to grapple them and cut off their movement. My clan would use that in combat sometimes.
Is there any spells that you might want in particular that you might have seen in your travels?
It's not possible to put fireball on it, would there?
It would be a bit difficult, but I could figure it out. It would probably take me roughly a week or so.
I don't know if we got a week. Whatever you think would be best to add on. You see, I'm not very in tune with magic and such.
If you want something quick, I could possibly imbue it with. There's not too many spells that would be easy. It's kind of like sitting there, kind of thinking, kind of scratching like the edge of his chin or whatever as he's like thinking.
Yeah, this is player to DM. I have no idea what an artificer does. I'm gonna be
Artificers can do instant enchantments, but they're temporary. Um, and as you can kind of tell with him and his drip, he's probably already used up most of his that he can currently use.
Yeah. Yeah.
Considering most of the items on his body look to be enchanted.
Look to be dripped out.
Yeah, he's dripped. He's dripped out.
Errol would just say, if it's too much effort, it's fine. With where we're heading, I honestly don't know how much use I'm gonna get out of this in terms of what we might be facing.
He kind of gives you a nod and kind of offers it back to you and just says, yes, most spells would be somewhat tedious in order to imbue. Probably one of the easier spells would be something like Misty Step or something of that nature. Kind of a lower tier spell. But
I already got that covered, and I'll just walk into Andraka's shadow and appear behind his.
see. It would be a useless spell to you then. But
I appreciate the consideration. Is the rest of the party coming up as well?
they're behind you. They've been with you.
Oh, hell yeah. Alright. We ready to roll?
Cal kind of gives a nod. Galnora almost seems to like slam a fist to her chest plate.
Andraka.
Sure.
Is the lizard man gonna speak, or is he just gonna walk?
The shopper, the Tabaxi's still there, right?
Yeah, he's still standing in front of you, the mechanical dragon on his shoulders and the construct standing next to him. I'm so nervous. I've never been around another artificer before. That's what I'm picturing.
You wouldn't know anyone that knows the teleport spell, would you?
I know of one individual that lives in the mountains, but I'm not entirely sure if he's there right now in his dwelling. Actually, no, I know of two, but both of them could be out at the moment. Do the names Agrog or Zeldrif ring a bell to you in any way?
No.
The Archmage of Almoria? Or the
I don't remember.
Archmages?
Have we been there? Do we know them?
You ran into them in the previous town you were in. They were the ones investigating the infected body.
Oh yeah.
Did I?
I
don't
made
think
him
I talked to them.
scared.
You saw them from a distance. You didn't talk to them. You saw them from a distance.
The gears in Errol's head would kind of click and go, oh yeah. They're investigating a person I killed.
Interesting. Do they
For
realize that
good
you?
reasons.
Do they realize it was you?
Oh, no.
Hmm.
Well, it was me, but it wasn't me. It was this. He kind of holds up the helm.
I see. He almost seems like eyeball this thing, almost a mixture of interest but also weary as
Errol's just gonna hold it out for him if he wants.
You guys always rag on me for spilling my guts.
he kind of slowly kind of reaches for it, and as he kind of touches it, his hand kind of yanks back. He kind of almost like flexes his hand for a little bit as if he was like zapped by it. He says, "That's a interesting helm you have.
Mm-hmm.
I think my days of cursed items are over after that ring."
Oh yeah, you don't want this one.
I would assume
Probably
it
gonna
is
be the death
such.
of me.
I would believe that. well, if you all are heading out, I don't want to keep you waiting. I assume you're attempting to stop whatever is causing that uproar of chaos.
I'm just gonna walk away.
Who knows?
All right. Well, if you manage to kill that individual with their keep, I would be happy to buy those items from you if you have something of interest. Or at least if you find the place and tell me where it's located, I could come and aid in the collection.
Yep. If we make it past that point, I'll keep you updated.
He gives you a nod, just says, well, until next time we run into each other. And you're going to see him snap a finger as his cloak does what it did before, where it kind of billows out a little bit. And him and the construct are both going to lift into the air and begin flying towards Grandhelm. As he casts the spell Fly on himself and his construct. I assume the rest of you are heading to the island. It's time to do a walking montage.
Yeah, I think we got offered horses. I'm pretty sure the group said no after Vietnam flashbacks.
Yes, you did get off your horses, and you're just like, no, we're not killing any more horses. Even though you guys didn't kill them, but you were the reason they ended up dying. All right. You all begin your trek in the direction of the floating island in the middle of the continent. Is there anything you guys are going to want to be doing along the journey, or role playing you guys want to do between each other or NPCs? Card.
Errol's gonna at some point just be skipping along, throw the helm on, and then run off to go hunt some stuff.
Journey's just gonna stay course.
Okay. Roll me 8 checks, Leo.
All right.
Tell me them as you roll them.
Yeah, sorry. All right. First check. Sleight of hand. 6.
Okay.
4.
Okay.
13.
Okay.
How many did you say?
8. You've done 3.
8. 16.
Okay.
Nat 1.
Okay.
Nat 1.
Goddamn.
5.
Okay.
19.
Okay. You struggle through the few days that you guys are traveling. Though kind of about the 4th day ish of traveling, as you guys are like entering the mountain range and like beginning to move through the mountains, you're starting to get the hang of this. Errol, during your time, I'm not gonna make you roll anything, but you would have been able to hunt a little bit of creatures here and there as you were traveling. Is anyone else trying to do anything during these days?
Yeah, I was about to ask if you wanted me to roll to see if I lose control during these transformation sessions.
Roll me 3 checks.
What is it? I just gotta make sure what it is.
It's like a wisdom 16 or something.
Yeah. Is it? Yeah. Okay. Oh wait, I got an advantage. Okay, that was a nat 1 originally. That's yeah, dodged a bullet on that. That's 21.
Okay.
That's I'm not adding my modifier. I'm just saying the numbers off. That was an 18. I don't plus 5.
Okay.
And that's a crit.
Okay, you don't lose control during the days. The first day gets a little close, but you figure it out.
Harry.
There's a stumbling block within your head for a moment, but you pull
Actually,
through.
So the armor's what's giving me advantage. Would that not, when transforming into the Wendigo, because all I'm doing is pulling the helmet back of the armor and putting the helm on. Would
The armor
the armor then?
the armor disappears, but you would. I think you have to fail 3 checks to actually lose control, though.
I'll since I got a nat 1 then on the first day, I'll go through it and roll to see if I lose control. If that's fine.
Let me reintroduce myself to the helm real quick because it's been a while since I've looked at it.
Because I didn't know how the helm and the armor would interact. Because the armor grows to fit the user, but the helm is
Oh, that's right.
changing the
We talked about
user's
that.
shape.
You would still have the armor on when you were in the Wendigo form. So yeah, you would have the advantage
Okay. All right. Okay.
because you're attuned to both.
Dodged a bullet. That would have been a
kerfuffle?
critical failure. Would have been bad.
Yeah, you would have gotten a strike. And after, I think, 3 of them, you are lost. So-
Errol would just not return from his journey.
Yes. All right, so 4 days passes. No issues as you're going other than the slight stumbling block that Errol runs into at one point. On this 5th day, as you are about midway through the mountain range, kind of, it's a very cloudy day. No sunlight comes through. It looks like it should rain, but it hasn't started. There's even that smell in the air of like rain is to come type thing, that humid, almost musty smell before the storm.
Such a southern thing.
It is a southern thing.
I could smell the rain.
And as you guys are kind of like traveling through, perception checks.
30.
That was a question. Hello?
Roll a perception check.
I was asking if that was all of us.
I said all of us. You just said question.
What? No.
Yeah.
No, I said question. All of us?
I didn't get the all of us part.
Oh,
I
there
just
was a
heard,
pause?
Yeah, there was a pause and nothing else.
Okay, well. I got my fucking. Where's my perception? I got a 24.
Wow, Leo's perceptive today. Interesting.
Well, I have a mastery in it, so.
I see. Okay. Errol, what did you roll?
30.
Journey?
Perception.
Yeah. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I'm like giving everyone the option.
Trying to get it. My mouse, my cat was kind of on my. Okay.
Hey, why'd you have to post that in the chat, Evan?
I only got an 11.
Oh, that's nasty. Gross. I regret clicking over to see that. Ugh.
Are you? Oh, yeah, the dog.
Ugh. That's a whole ass rag.
I was between that or here's the other image that I came up with.
I'm scared.
You should be. It's pretty freaking weird. There you go.
All right, we're just gonna
Hey, can you just?
we're just gonna
Yeah.
That's better. I can't do that, bro. that's just too nasty for me.
Oh,
Ugh.
trust me. Yeah, the spaghetti one. No, I was like, all right, I'm not gonna send that. I figured the rag one is
Yeah, that one's just as bad. I deleted both. We're good.
fair
Ugh.
enough.
You're gonna make me want to puke, and it's miserable. Anyways, the two of you, Errol and Leo, as you're kind of walking along, you feel there's a really odd sensation you begin to feel, almost like you're being watched. You can't quite figure out where, but you can just feel it. And as you kind of look around, on occasion you'll look up in the sky and you'll see a glimpse of something, but you don't quite understand what you see whenever you see this thing for a brief moment, but every time it brings just chills down your spine.
Errol's gonna stop moving and just stare up.
Galnora just kind of glances towards you as you do this and just says, "What's gotten into you?"
We have company.
Do we? She's gonna kind of look up in the direction that you're looking and kind of squinting her eyes. Says, "I don't see anything."
Everyone be on guard from above. Errol's gonna stretch his wings out and I'm shooting straight up.
You're gonna fly up in the air?
Mm-hmm.
How high?
How cloudy is it? It's like low fog.
It is like high up in the sky, like high blankets. Like it's
Is that where
lower.
I saw the creature?
You saw a glimpse of it up there, yes.
I'm heading straight up.
Okay. You are
Question.
yes.
Is the fog trigger the dim lighting condition?
Yeah, it's dim lit.
Okay.
There is no
All right.
sunlight. It's like twilight is the kind of like lighting you're getting right now.
That's all I needed. I'm reading a reaction.
Okay. You are flying up towards the sky. You get very, very high. Probably get up to like 1,000 feet. I need you to roll a Constitution saving throw real quick. Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. 19.
19.
I'm using actual die now. I figured my girlfriend bought me the pair. I'm gonna use them.
You're going to take 31 points of thunder damage as a high-pitched sound rings out around you. Actually, to the point of knocking you out of the sky for a brief moment, causing you to drop about 100 feet before you catch yourself.
Did I catch a glimpse of it? Would the readied reaction not allow me to dodge? I was
No,
gonna
because
shadow step.
you didn't see it coming. This
Okay.
this caught you by surprise.
Okay.
Though as you were falling, you did for a moment catch the glimpse of an eye within the cloud before it disappeared.
Wait, so is he falling now from like?
He fell like
lives now
100
high up?
feet and then he caught himself at like 900 feet up. So he's still in the air, but you guys saw him starting to drop.
You guys, are you familiar with the sound owls will make when they screech?
Just think of a pterodactyl.
Because it's not it's. I know barn owls are notorious for the sound, but other owls do it as well. He's letting out one of those.
An owlish
trying to-
cry.
Yeah, trying to catch everyone's attention.
They could be able to hear you because they also were watching you as you fell out of the sky for a moment. And now you all kind of look up into the sky too as Errol's doing this.
I'm just frantically scanning the clouds now.
Looking about, you're not seeing anything, and you're just kind of. It's strange the feeling you're getting. There's almost an immense panic happening within you, but you're also able to keep your composure at the same time. And like the whole time it's happening, you know that feeling of like being watched where you feel like needles being rubbed against like the back of your neck?
Mm-hmm.
You're getting that sensation. And no matter where you look, you can't figure out where this is coming from. You can't figure out where these eyes are that are seeing you. And it terrifies you to the core.
Mm. I don't see any movement up in the clouds.
No.
I'm just gonna tuck my wings and dive back down.
Okay.
I'll make it to the rest of the party and go, something's up there. Caught me by surprise for once.
That's not good.
I can't track it.
Cal kind of clenches his jaw at the sound of this and is kind of finicking with his hands. He doesn't have his tarot cards in his hands this time, but he is kind of finicking a little bit. Almost like nervously messing with his crossbow.
Go take 2 potions of healing. Thank you, shopkeep and meat grinder.
And
Alright. There we go.
roll check real quick. Errol. And Leo. You both, as you're standing there, get a chill down your spine. As you are like standing within this path or whatever. And the two of you, actually, do you want to turn towards the source of where you're feeling this pressure?
Yes.
Also, yes.
You both slowly turn around, and I'm going to drop a picture into chat of what you see. You both turn around and see this behind you.
Earl, why is it a biblically accurate angel?
Roughly kind of 10 feet in width.
Is it in the clouds where I just was?
It is on the path behind you. It is.
I'm gonna turn around and pretend like I didn't see it and keep walking.
I want you to roll me a Constitution saving throw at both of you as you look upon this thing for the first time.
And last time, probably. Hopefully.
Apparently.
Yo, I got a 24.
I got an 18.
Errol, you almost fall to your knees, but you are able to keep on your feet. And I'd like everyone to roll initiative now that this thing's been introduced.
Initiated. We have begun initiative.
11.
This
We're
is where
fighting.
This is where the fun begins.
13.
We're fighting a goddamn angel. 21.
Damn, Errol.
I got a +5, baby.
Was
Let's
that
go.
for Leo? Was that an 18 I heard?
13.
13.
Yo, okay.
you're still
Well,
above journey.
I need to send a picture of these die. They're pretty sick.
Roll for Cal. Just put it in next. And then oh, and Draco, you're the only one I don't have anything for.
18.
Damn, Eldraka's here to play. And Draco, you look at this thing and there's you are scared. Like you do get that internal feeling. You are not reacting though, considering this is not your first rodeo. Errol, though, you are first.
Sorry. I was trying to send the picture. There we go. It's sent. All right, cool. How far away is this thing?
30 feet. It got close to you without you all noticing.
I'm gonna punch it.
Okay.
I'm throwing hands,
I'm gonna punch
Yeah.
it.
Agreed.
and then I'm gonna roll for the damage. I forget. I have to unequip the armor to actually see my proper stats. Otherwise, it screws with the stat thing. There we go. Okay. Unarmored strikes. So 17 and a what's a 14 plus 24.
The second one barely hits.
What? Okay. All right. Oh.
Jared already knows what I've thrown at you guys.
Oh. We're in danger. That is 9 points of bludgeoning damage, and as a bonus action, I am going into patient defense.
Okay.
I didn't use my full movement with that, so I would get about 10 feet away before entering patient defense.
You're getting in range of it and then moving away from it?
Yes, sir. But I have mobility, so it does not have attack of opportunity.
Yes. Forgot about mobility. Yes.
I'm a slippery bastard.
Yeah, well, you are small, so you know.
Fitting.
Okay. Okay, 9 points of damage. The rings in it seem to almost wobble for a second as it makes this strange, almost like how's the way to describe it? It's almost like it's speaking in tongues. It's like a language you can't understand, but it also you hear like a grinding noise as it's doing this. And it is now Andraka's turn.
Huh.
I will make a note too. All of the eyes that are on this thing, and you would notice this specifically in Draka as something that is odd. All the rest of you may not catch it as well. The eyes all look to be draconic.
Oh shit.
I'm gonna hit it with arrows. Not close to it still, right?
He's like 10 feet away from it, so
If it's a
Yeah.
fireball, you're good.
Actually, it's snowballs.
snowballs. All right.
If it's yeah, as long as it's dex, it doesn't matter.
What does it need to
It's
roll?
21 damage.
Is it dex
It's,
saving throw?
Dex.
Yeah, it fails. 21 points of damage.
Yep.
All right. Cool. In response, no, never mind. The end of your turn?
Yeah.
Okay. Leo,
Yes.
it's your turn. It's your turn for action.
Is it worth doing psychic damage spells? That shit hasn't worked in like 10 fucking sessions. Is it worth it, everyone?
I was gonna say, don't ask me. I'm not telling you shit, but
Why not? I don't know.
No, maybe it's resistant to like what holy damage or whatever, but
I let them psychic
It-
lance.
might as well try.
I'd be
flipping my fist.
surprised if it actually works.
The lance
No,
does
if it-
the lance does get shattered
No.
as two of the rings crossed it and break it.
Who would have thought?
Fireball.
Well, I already cast the spell.
I know.
going to
I'm saying
cast
for future.
Yeah, for
Mage
future.
Armor.
As this
Oh.
happens and it breaks, you do hear a familiar laugh come from within it.
Hold on. For some reason, my D&D Beyond is no longer working. It just straight up stopped working.
Well, they are losing a lot of money
There we
right
go.
now, so
Yeah, not shocked.
that's what happens when you OGL. Or whatever the fucking acronym is.
I think it's OG.
Well, I'm gonna go get into cover.
Okay. It's now Cal's turn, who I'm gonna roll something for. Cal has collapsed to his knees, and is he is in tears, and is though he is unable to look away from this thing, and he is shaking. Every ounce of his being is shaking right now. You know what I didn't roll for? Yeah, that works.
What about is Magnus in this fight?
Magnus is not here. You don't know where Magnus is.
What the? Has he been with us on the mission?
He disappeared.
journey?
He disappeared before you left town. You don't know where he went.
Oh god damn it! We lost. I forgot you said that.
An easy detail to miss.
Oh lord! All right.
Journey.
Yo,
It's your turn. As Cal is
I-
now having a mental breakdown.
I'm gonna cast spiritual weapon at the 4th level.
Okay.
And I don't think it's a save.
You roll an attack.
Yeah. So here. 23.
It blocks the weapon. One of the rings swing around as you try to swing at its core, ricocheting off of one of the rings as they begin to kind of spin at a quicker rate as if to protect itself.
Shink, 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 shink. Okay. Then I'm going to use my cantrip mastery. And I am going to cast Thunderclap on it.
Okay. That's a dex saving throw, is it? What is that?
Constitution.
Constitution. Yeah, it fails. Roll the damage.
Yeah. So it's going to take 11 thunder damage.
Okay, 11 thunder damage coming right up. All right.
Yeah. I use a cantrip. Now I guess I get my movement, so I'm going to move away from this freaky, biblically accurate angel thing.
You don't have mobile, do you?
Oh, never mind. I'll just stay there then.
Darn. Almost had him in my trap. Anyways.
Oh god.
Leo and Journey. Dex saving throws for me.
Whoa.
Galnor is
Where did
also
it-
Galnor is also gonna roll one.
So this thing appeared 30 feet behind us. I
Yeah.
ran up to engage.
14.
Has it moved since then?
No, it has stayed in that one spot. You don't know how fast this thing moves.
Are they? Where's the rest of the party in reference to where Errol is? Because he's 10
Behind
feet from
you.
it.
Behind you. Like 10 feet behind you.
Oh shit! Oh god damn. Okay.
You guys are close to get together, and like on either like about 20 feet on either side of you are like rigid like inclines for like the mountain because you were like walking through a valley.
I rolled 14.
14. Leo?
This is for the deck save?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a 4.
The two of you watch as, or the three all of you watch as three rings launch off of this thing. Two of which, one wraps itself around Leo, and the other around Journey. The third going for Galnora, who dives out of the way, and it misses and returns to itself and rejoins the cluster of rings. For the time, your movement is halved, and you have disadvantage on attacks against the creature.
Okay.
And that is the end of its turn. It's
Sorry.
now
Wait, what happened to me?
your speed is halved, and you have disadvantage on attacks against the creature.
Great.
Galnora, who
Does that
dodged.
mean it has advantage on things that require a DC roll?
No,
Yes.
it just slowed you down and made it so that you can't attack as efficiently. Galnora is going to she's gonna bear out. And she is going to rush forward with her axe, our blade, our sword, God damn. She's gonna make 2 attacks. Actually 3 attacks. First will hit, second will hit, third will miss. She's gonna inflict 20 points of damage. And she's gonna end her turn there. Back to Errol.
I'm gonna use Ray of Sickness.
Ray of Sickness. What is that must roll?
Oh no, I roll.
Oh,
24.
that hits.
All right. Roll the damage. No, 2d8. That is 11 points of poison. And no, it needs to roll. Constitution saving throw
What does that have to roll?
of an 18.
It does pass.
All right, it is not poisoned. That Errol's gonna bop it in the face.
Okay.
This.
Roll your
Guessing a
attack.
19 doesn't hit.
It does hit.
A 19 hits. Oh shit! All right. Slap that man's. It's a D8 plus 5. That is 7 points of bludgeoning, and then I'm going to use Flurry of Blows. So I'm going to roll those 2 attacks. That's a 17, and that's a 29.
29 points of damage?
No, I'm rolling
20.
for Flurry of Blows if they hit.
Oh.
So the first one was a 17, and
That
then
hits.
the second one was a 29.
Yeah, those 2 hit.
Okay. Now I'm going to roll 2 of those. So that's 12 plus 7 is 19 points of bludgeoning. Added it on to the previous 7. So 26 points of bludgeoning.
Okay.
I am up in its face, staring at all its eyes. Errol's kind of going cross-eyed, trying to attempt this.
He's stupid enough to do this without hurting himself. Can't tell me I'm wrong.
the no thoughts, no brain cells works in his favor at moments.
Yes. Okay. Andraka.
Is anyone close to it now?
Errol is. He's standing in front of it, and Galnor is as well. And Journey. They're all standing in front of it, like right in its face.
That's not ideal.
Errol's just gonna
Um,
yell, "Do what you need to do."
I'm gonna hit it with the chromatic orb.
Okay.
Never mind.
I'm gonna assume you rolled really shittily.
I got a 14.
That wasn't too bad, but you throw it forward, and the two of the rings kind of crush your orb and make it just kind of dissipate. Okay. Okay. Leo,
Yeah.
it's your turn.
Uh, all right. We're just gonna use my fucking fireball.
What's
So-
the dex saving throw?
19.
Good God.
Roll the damage. I'm gonna. This is one of those attacks I'm not gonna tell you it.
I
You'd never
pass.
tell me it, so 35.
35. Fascinating. Okay. Um. You all hear as after launching this fireball, you hear Cal let out a cry of pain. And as you kind of glance backwards towards Cal, I'm going to send the next picture to the chat. You see what almost looks like some sort of giant orb-like entity with skulls, with these skull-looking things within the kind of clear portions of it. Piercing through Cal's back with what looks to be a spike of some sort that's coming off of it.
Nothing personal, kid.
Pretty much. And you see him crying out in pain. Which first I need to roll the first attack thing on him. Okay. Before there's a period of time he almost looks like the life is being drained from him. I'm gonna roll his con save. He failed that. You see as Cal, his form almost seems to wither slightly as this dark necrotic energy kind of spreads through his body with the spike sticking through him. It's now Journey's turn.
So, as a bonus action,
Mm-hmm.
how far away is Cal?
Cal's like 20 feet from you.
Okay, I can move my spiritual weapon 20 feet.
Okay.
So I'm going to move my spiritual weapon to this thing that just stabbed him, and I would like to roll to hit.
Okay. Roll an attack.
20.
That hits.
Okay.
As you strike it, the appendage that kind of came off of it kind of pulls out of Cal, and he drops to the ground, kind of panting, blood trickling from his chest. And roll your damage.
I did 9 damage.
Did 9 points of damage.
I imagine my spiritual weapon is a hammer and chisel. So it's like a hammer like chiseling off an arm or whatever.
As a note as well, this thing's gonna lunge at you. and you are going to be pierced by one of these appendages. I need you to roll a dex saving throw.
22.
Okay. This thing doesn't attach itself to you and doesn't like stick to you like it did to Cal. You managed to rip the appendage out. But you will take 23 points of piercing damage. As a portion of your flesh is actually ripped out of you when you pull this back.
Okay. I'm
Uh,
gonna cast. I said I'm using my normal action. I'm gonna cast polymorph
okay.
to shrink down and get out of this ring.
So you're like small, turning like to a small bird or something.
Yeah.
Okay. You're able to get out because you do have enough movement for that. So you do manage to escape. Your spiritual weapon will dissipate because you're using a different concentration spell. But you do get away. It is now the ring's turn. It is going to. I'm gonna roll one dice. That's not gonna hit anyone. It's gonna attempt to make a deafening scream, but it seems to struggle a slight bit. And even though the sound does hurt, it doesn't seem to affect any of you. And yeah, that's it for that. Now Galnora's turn. Galnora, seeing Journey get attacked, is going to turn towards the orb, and she's going to very angrily attack the orb with her sword. Let's see. First attack hits.
Aw,
Second attack
couple
hits.
goals.
Third attack hits. She hits with every single attack.
Good lord.
Galnora is no joke. And she's going to
Apparently.
inflict 34 points of slashing damage to this entity. As she lets out a very powerful roar like that of a bear. She is a werebear. And it is now. Oh, I did my math wrong. Yes. Errol, it's your turn.
How far away is this bugger?
They're both within 5 feet of you.
Oh, she's also within?
Yeah.
Alright. Oh, hell. Alright. Let me see. I want to see if I could use this as a bonus. I'm guessing casting Dragon's Breath is a full action, not a bonus action.
Casting it is a bonus action, I think. No, it is a full action to cast the spell. Bonus action to use the
maintain, it's a
spell.
bonus.
No. To maintain is automatic. To use the actual breath itself is a bonus action.
I'm confused. So that means it's an action and a bonus action to use it?
Yes. But you can use it as a bonus action every turn after that as long as you hold concentration.
Gotcha.
Because it lasts for a minute.
No, we're going fists. Errol's gonna just start punching the shit out of it. Man, this second beer is kicking my ass. 29 for the first punch.
That hits.
12 for the second punch.
That misses.
Damn, that was a 2. Holy shit. Alright. Rolling the damage for the first one. There's 12 points of bludgeoning. I'm gonna then use.
You're attacking the
flurry of
orb?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and also, hold up. Let me roll for sneak attack. Because Galnora's in range. That
Someone's
is-
benefiting from Galnora being right there.
That's 9 points of piercing.
All right.
What's this? Does it bleed?
As you kind of stab into this thing, a few of the kind of skull-like things within it seem to slip out and hit the ground.
Is there actually like that baby-looking thing in the center?
Oh
of
yeah,
it?
that's definitely there.
Can I sleight of hand to try to swipe the child?
Kidnap.
Roll me a wisdom save first.
That's not what I wanted to hear, Tyler.
Roll me a wisdom save first.
Oh, you're lucky I have advantage. 22.
Okay. Now try to roll the dex. Check.
Does a 19 grab the child?
Give me a moment.
It sounds like you're contemplating if I swipe the child.
No, I need to find something. I seem to have not pulled something out. Give me a second. I'm missing dice. Where are my d8s? I think I need all of them.
Errol steals the child. Let's go.
Okay.
If the child is bigger than you.
Yeah, God. I didn't even think of that. Is the child as large as I am?
No.
Oh, that's good.
Larger.
That's a giant
Errol.
baby. Oh no.
You're going to
What have I-
take 48 points of slashing damage, and I need you to roll a Constitution saving throw for me real quick.
What, you said 48 points of slashing?
48 points of slashing, and I need you to roll a con save for me.
Alright, 24 damage, and then con save. 19.
Your hand is broken. Your left,
Oh.
your hand you cannot use your right hand anymore. It is broken. Or if you do,
Does
you will
the-
take damage when you punch.
Does the armor not stabilize it at cost of damage?
It does a tiny bit, which I'll roll the slight bit of thing. Like, using it to punch will be excruciating, is what I'm telling you. You take 2 points of piercing damage as it stabs into you, though. But your hand is broken. And everyone hears it break. And they also see the amount of blood that gets shot out of your hand when it happens.
His but a flesh wound.
You know, like in JoJo, where you have like the random sprays of blood from like an attack hitting? Yeah, that's what happened to you. It's just your arm that did it. So, yeah.
It's just a flesh wound.
Andraka.
Boy, it's been so long. I don't remember if I have the charge. I'm gonna transform.
I'm a transform. All right. What are you transforming into?
Which one can I transform into?
Let me go to the list. The ones that I gave you permission to transform into were Metavern, the Fermis, Ortry, Asaquiz, Crocra, Metadrake.
You're struggling with these.
Lunacoron.
I'm not allowed to turn it up.
No, wait, no, that's right. That's way too high. I went too far. Yeah, the Metadrake was the last one. You are not allowed to do this one. I looked at it after I said it. I went, wait a minute, that's not right. Yeah, those are the ones you can do.
D&D and Beyond's not letting me open those things.
But they're retaliating.
Blasphemy.
I can't look at the stats of them.
What is it telling you when you try to open them?
Nothing. They're just not opening.
They're just not opening. Did D&D and Beyond just literally say fuck everyone?
This is heresy of the highest order.
So when you go into your things, I wonder if I can open mine because I still have my subscription because I only pay once a year. Yo, what if they got rid of the... no! They got rid of the homebrew thing because of the new OCL. Do I need to send you the pictures, Jared?
No, I found the pictures. I forgot I did download them all.
Okay, at least you have them downloaded.
Wait, they were completely remove the homebrew page?
No, I'm just making things. Jared was
Really,
able to...
I can only turn into those. You're drawing 2 of the others at us.
Yes.
Bullshit.
Jared,
Campaign
Jared,
sucks.
you guys are doing fairly well right now. Not gonna lie.
I'll just turn into the bones again.
Turning bony boy. All right. Rattle me bones. Okay, you transform. Is that
I
all you
forgot.
can do on your turn?
Did we say if I could quicken that spell?
Your transformation spell?
Yeah.
Technically, as a sorcerer, you can.
Okay, I'm quickening it then.
Okay.
And then I'm going to... How close are they to me?
20 feet.
Okay, yeah. I'm playing a stunning song.
Okay. What do they have to roll for that again?
Con
Constitution saving throw of what?
14.
Okay,
Oh, shit.
they both passed. One barely passed.
What?
The other one passed with a crit.
What if I don't pass?
Does everyone have to roll it?
It don't matter. No.
No.
I designate.
Oh,
Okay.
So then that's
good. I got a
7 damage.
7 points of damage to both.
7 thunder.
Okay. The rings begin to quake and shake and start spinning at a rapid pace before shattering. And that child that was in the center seems to almost melt into sort of a goo. That kind of just spreads in the dirt. And as this happens, you kind of hear these kind of soft, like, wails of pain before it kind of fades away.
Did we just kill an angel?
Not quite. Look like one. Not quite. Jared knows what these are. Anyways,
Which arm did I break?
your right arm.
Oh, damn.
Because that would have been the one you would have snatched with. As for the other one, it's Leo's turn now. As there's just this orb.
Fireball?
You can do fireball. You may hit a teammate.
It's the teammate me.
Either you or Galnora.
And
Or you, Galnora, or Andraka. No, Andraka used a ranged attack. Never mind. You or a Galnora.
look, man, when psychic damage is off the table, there's not much I can do. So fireball it is. And also, like, everyone's high in dex anyway, so
Watch me fail this just because you said that. What do I have to pass? I ain't passing. We're not even discussing this.
We're not even discussing. All right, roll your damage. I think with evasion you only take half though.
Second. Come on.
I think so. I'm hoping so.
I think that's
40.
yeah. 48,
All right.
4D.
40. So you take 20 points of fire damage.
Take 20 points of fire.
Creature will also take 20 points as it seems to shift in a way to attempt to avoid but doesn't quite make it out entirely. It is now Cal's turn, but Cal is currently on his hands and knees, panting, so he's unable to fight at the moment. Journey, you are a bird.
I'm a bird.
I am a bird. What are you gonna do?
I'm going to fly up and unpolymorph. So end my concentration.
Okay.
I'm gonna fly up. Yeah, I'm flying up above the orb, dude, and ending my concentration. And I'm gonna cast Shatter right on top of him.
While in the air. Interesting choice. All right. What does he have to roll for that? Because I know it's a check.
Constitution 18.
The roll, I think it's half damage if they succeed, right?
I believe so. Did it succeed or fail?
It succeeded.
Okay, I was just making sure.
And
Okay.
when you did this, did you appear directly above it?
I'm not directly above it. I gave myself some room because this thing kind of has a spear, like it's a 10-foot radius of damage. So I exited polymorph higher than that because I didn't want to get caught in my own blast.
Yeah, I mean, are you directly above it, like falling towards it, or are you falling?
Yeah.
Falling. Okay, you're falling towards it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So I casted that at the 6th level. So we'll get half damage on that. So it'll do half of 38.
Okay.
And then I guess as my bonus action, I'll do a healing spell.
Okay.
I'll cast Cure Wounds at the 3rd level on my side. I'm on myself.
All right.
So I'll heal 17.
It is now the entity's turn. So as you fall, you will end up hitting it as you fall. I'm gonna roll something real fast. Okay, that doesn't do anything. You kind of bounce off it, feeling almost like a burning sensation as you kind of hit it, almost as if it's almost acidic.
Okay.
And you land next to it. And as you do, and as you kind of hit it, you hear this kind of almost harmonic wailing coming from inside of it. And it is going to look directly at Galnora. Check it has its ability again. It does. Galnora is going to need to make a Constitution saving throw against this attack. Ooh, she failed that. She is going to end up taking. Where are my d10s? That is 43 points of necrotic damage as it glares at her And you actually see the same kind of necrotic effect that fell over Cal start falling over her as her form almost seems to, even her werebearer form, almost seems to wither slightly. Necrotic energy kind of building up inside of her before it is going to lash out at her. And it's going to hit with one of its appendages. She's going to roll to try to avoid. She succeeds, I think. Yeah, she succeeds in not allowing it to attach to her. But she is going to take... Losing dice. How am I keep losing dice? She's going to take 16 points of piercing damage as a chunk of her is ripped out of her shoulder. She's going to roar in pain. And now her turn to retaliate. She is going to, Journey, you watch as she takes her blade and runs it across her hand. Cutting deep into her own hand as the blood kind of splatters onto the blade. And as she does, the blade is going to spark with electricity. And then she's going to perform 2 attacks. I need to roll the D... Is it a D10 that she's got to roll right now? Because of her blood right? I gotta make sure I know what her Hemocraft dice are. It's a D8. She takes a D8 of damage. Oh, that's why I keep losing dice. They end up on the other side of the desk. What the hell? Losing stuff. She's gonna do 6 damage to herself. And then she's going to roll 2 attacks with her blade, which is electrified. Both are going to hit. First hits 20 plus... Sorry, math is difficult. So she's going to do 22 points of damage. She slashes into this thing. It is not looking great. Earl. It's your turn.
I'll punch the shit out of it.
Okay.
2 attacks, 16 and a 27.
Both hit.
Alrighty. $11 and 12 points of bludgeoning. Is it dead?
This thing pops. The orbs that were within it kind of rolling across the ground, the wailing getting louder for a moment as it kind of dissipates it. And kind of the acidic substance that was within it kind of almost sink into the earth in front of you. And Errol.
God.
I need a wisdom and an intelligence saving throw.
Both?
Yeah.
Alright. I'll do wisdom first. That's a 7.
Okay.
Oh, that's not bad. That's a 17 for intelligence.
You get a strange sensation to fall over you. Almost as if you can't see out one eye. And you feel almost part of your body is moving on its own. And you're not sure why. The rest of you, as you're kind of sitting there panting over what has happened. Let's see here. Yeah, that would make sense. Journey, wisdom saving throw. You said 8?
8.
Journey. You you are going to start seeing almost out of nowhere these manifestations of these like nightmaric silhouettes around you, that begin to kind of claw at you. You're frightened, and you are going to take 24 points of psychic damage. The rest of you, as you see this, you see Cal is on his feet, his head slumped back, his eyes blacked out, and he is muttering under his breath as he is pointing at Journey. Andraka, it's your turn. Actually, no, it's not your turn. Sorry. Yeah, Andraka, it's your turn. Sorry, saying it wrong.
Arizona.
How close is Cal?
20 feet.
I don't know where it spawns on this map.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk up to it and I'm gonna hit him twice.
Okay. Roll your first attack.
Both 25.
Hot diggity damn. All right. Real quick, I'm going to roll 2 checks.
You hit that?
He's good on. That's the wrong roll. Cal. Okay. You see. Okay, so with that first, roll the damage for the first hit.
$18.
18 points of damage. And then roll the damage for the second. So as you do this first hit, you do see one of Cal's eyes return back to its normal color and him look at you fearfully with that one eye. The other one remains blacked out.
And then 21.
As you strike with the second attack, he is actually knocked off his feet and lands on his back. Both eyes seem to have returned back to their normal color. He is bleeding profusely, though. And he is panting heavily and looks shocked.
Would I have seen this?
No, because the eye that you can't see out of happens to. You would have heard Cal cry out in pain, but that's it.
I was just gonna say, I think I'm dying, or I'm blind, or both.
Leo, is there anything you want to do?
No, I don't.
Okay. Journey,
Yeah.
anything you want to do in this moment?
I'm currently fighting off my demons.
You are. Roll me a wisdom saving throw.
12.
Okay. Where are my d10s? Now let's do this way. 18 points of psychic damage as you continue to get slashed at. That's all you can do because there's not really. Well, you can see that. Actually, scratch that. Yeah, after you were to get hit by this, they would fade away because this would be roughly around the same time as Cal losing his concentration. So you get hit with his last attack, and then you would see that whatever was attacking was never there. As you don't have any scratches on you, but you are bleeding out your nose, and there's a little bit of blood running out of one of your eyes.
I'll be sit down, kind of slump back. And kind of run like her arm under her nose, like wipe blood off. face.
All right, Errol. Roll me an intelligence check.
$19. I got 0 modifiers.
Roll me an attack roll. Just one.
What kind of attack roll?
Unarmed strike.
Oh no. I fear for whoever is getting punched. That's a 16.
Journey, what's your AC?
My class. Sorry, walked away from my computer for a second. Is 17.
You manage to barely dodge Errol's fist as it goes past your face. And you do get a glimpse of his face. You see one half of his face seems to be in a growl. The other just looks confused. The side that is growling has a blacked out eye, and the other half has Errol's regular eye.
What I get for coming down to his level.
But Errol,
Errol's just gonna be like, what the hell's happening?
yeah, that's the end of your turn, Errol, because of the how close you got to beating the contesting force in your head. And Draco, what do you want to do? Because Cal's not going to do anything.
Can I tell if Cal looks or is acting normal again?
He looks like he's panicking, and he doesn't look hostile anymore.
Okay. How badly hurt is everyone?
Help.
I'm still attacking people.
You did kind of get a glance at Journey nearly getting her face punched in by Errol.
Never mind, doesn't matter. I can't use that anyways. Yeah, I'm gonna go smack Errol now.
All right.
Good luck.
Roll an attack.
Well, that's an at 20, and then
Fuck.
27.
All right, Errol, with that first hit, I need you to roll a wisdom saving throw.
Alrighty, hold up. There we go.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
22.
Okay, that's a pass. And Draco, roll the damage for that first hit. Oh, it's a
That
crit.
would be...
Roll a regular
Yeah,
damage. Errol, roll your armor's damage. Because your armor is going to stabilize you against this hit.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Your armor would have probably given you advantage on this roll. Even more.
That's 21.
21 points of damage.
Alright, let me get that's D6 and it's 4 of them. That's a lot of damage. How much was the punch?
24.
Andraka? So
21.
24.
No,
21.
21, sorry. I'm adding 3 points. 21.
21
I'll
minus,
do that much damage
and
if you
then
want me to.
I did 15 to myself. I'm at 46 health.
Though both of your eyes return back to their normal color. Technically, Jared, you did hit the second attack if you were acting hastily.
I mean, if I
I
could
couldn't
tell
see
that he went
anything.
back to
I
normal,
ran
I
that
would.
way.
Yeah,
I
you
would
would
not
you would
hit
have been
his
able
side.
to see it. His eyes are quite easy to see right now.
Oh, well, no, I have the armor on. I have a
They-
helm.
They can see your eyes through it.
Yeah, I
the way that
agree.
you've been doing it.
I thought it spawned upstairs, so I was just running away from it,
Sounds good.
away from the stairs, but nope.
You're unmuted,
What?
Leo. And you're talking
Oh,
nonsense.
Chris actually made a different choice than us. Oh.
Oh,
Whoa. He survived?
I don't think he
What?
realizes
Oh,
what's
never
going on.
mind.
yeah, he doesn't realize what's happening.
Anyways.
Well,
Errol?
that was fun.
Yeah, you recover from that. What would you guys like to do? You're out of combat. for the time
Journey's
being.
gonna
How-
ask
I
your
like
wo-
how I never touched my journal, so spirit was still selected, so I got it correct.
Is he playing
What?
Phasmo while fucking doing this? Yeah, that's what I thought. this man, oh my god. He's playing
He's gonna catch
Hey, look, man. Most of my stuff is always like sectioned off in these games, so there's really not much I can do.
What? Dog, mute yourself. Holy hell.
I was talking to you guys that time.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, I'm
I'm
so
gonna
confused.
ask-
Anyways, what are you gonna ask?
Okay, everyone heal 48 points.
Hot diggity damn.
Oh, that's good.
So I'm up to max health now. And I was down to like 15, so
I'm at 94. Out of 138.
After this kind of occurs, and there's kind of this long moment of silence, Galnora dropping her werebear form and kind of plopping down in the dirt tiredly, kind of panting a little bit.
Set up camp, anyone?
That might be a good idea.
Here, where we just got ambushed.
Yeah. They came from the sky, so you know.
Get-
What is around us? Like, what kind of
You're in like a
terrain is
valley
it?
path. I will say, Errol, you would hear something as a rise up over one of the mountains nearby.
Oh, never mind. We have friends.
It doesn't sound like something getting closer. It just sounds like there is a fray that is occurring.
Can anyone? There's. I don't even know what's happening anymore. Some shit's going down over there. And he's just pointing in the general direction.
Should we get away from it? We pitch.
You know, fuck it. Arrow's gonna pull out a coin. One of the gold coins that he's just thrown at random people. I want to flip it. I'm gonna actually roll. Heads or tails? You guys
Heads.
call it.
I don't know.
Heads. All right, I'm doing 2 and a 3. It is heads. All right. Earl just, God damn it. All right, flips up helm, or flips up helmet. He slaps on the helm.
Okay.
Start booking it towards whatever's happening over there.
Okay, good. We're not moving.
You run up this kind of mountainside. Takes you a minute because it is technically difficult terrain. But you do run up the side of this mountain, and as you kind of peek over onto the other side, you see what looks to be a very large amethyst dragon that is fighting off multiple creatures.
What kind of creatures?
Well, there are 2 of the band-like creatures that you just fought, as well as 3 of the orbs. One of which looks, as you kind of peek over, you see it explode. And seems to almost be crushed by some sort of like gravitational force. You also see
Lem-
2 large, almost like wooden creatures that are trying to slash at this dragon, and it keeps blocking hits and slashing back.
I am going to, and I'm trying to pull up the Wendigo stat sheet.
And then you also see a few of these lesser creatures that are fighting as well. There's a few of the worms that you'd seen in the past, as well as 1 or 2 of the bone creatures that Andraka had become.
Pounce on one of the wooden creatures.
All right. Roll an attack roll against it. Roll with advantage because it's not expecting you.
Oh, with advantage. Oh, fuck! You should not have given me the advantage, Chief. Oh, that's a crit.
Okay.
Hold up. Oh, wait. Unnatural. Unnatural 20. Correction.
Unnatural 20.
I
Okay.
just saw the 20. Sorry, I'm using the online dice roll.
You rolled
I'm in
with
my
it.
bed.
You rolled with advantage.
Yeah, yeah. The other one would have been, what was that? A 10. Yeah, hold on. I'm trying to find the whole doc for what the damage is.
It blocks you.
Ah,
Uh,
spicy.
As it blocks you, it is going to turn, and you see on its face these large kind of almost maw, almost forming within the wood, and it's going to bite you.
Oh, I still had 2 attacks left.
Well, it's still going to bite you.
Oh,
You upset it. And that's going to be 18 points of piercing damage. That counts as magical damage to negate resistance against non-magical.
alrighty.
But you get your 2 more attacks.
What kind of damage type is it?
It's piercing still, but it negates non-magical piercing resistance.
Okay.
It's kind of like what you do with as a monk, where it's you ignore certain resistances because your punches are magical. Because you can punch ghosts.
I can punch ghosts. I forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me.
It's my favorite thing about monks is that they can punch ghosts.
Alright, I'm gonna claw attack it twice. As a 22 and another 22.
22 and another 22. Those both hit.
Add the damage. Modifier 2d8 plus 10. 23 and 15 slashing damage.
23 and 15 slashing damage. You pretty much sever one of the limbs on this creature. It doesn't make any noise, but you kind of crumble one of these limbs. The dragon kind of glancing over and looks relatively confused by this sudden act. Before
As a bonus action, I was just gonna let out a screech. Try to draw the other's attention.
the dragon is going to wield its head back, and it's going to let out this kind of purplish breath. And you see as a number of these creatures seem to be compressed. Including the one that was in front of you, as you're not quite in the cone of the breath attack, but you are on the edge of it. You see most of these creatures start to get crushed by some sort of gravitational force. Most of them actually being destroyed from this attack. The one in front of you seems to be barely standing after this attack has occurred. And the dragon itself, there's maybe 2 creatures left standing. It's the one in front of you and a badly injured one of the rings. The dragon collapses, though, immediately after.
Is it my turn or is it their turns?
Let's see. The first one is going to try to attack the dragon. Is going to miss. And the one is going to attack you. He's also going to miss. So it's your turn.
I'm just gonna make a fist and just smash the other one.
Okay. Are you smashing the wood one that's in front of you?
Yeah, is that
Okay.
the wood one's directly in front of me,
Yeah.
right? All right, that's a 21 hit.
That just hits, yes. I picture you are like gorilla stomping this boy.
Yeah, yeah. That does 21 points of damage. I don't what. I guess that's bludgeoning since it's kind of just like slamming it.
You cause it to splinter out, crushing what is left of it.
Is there a pile? Oh, okay. Oh, I was gonna throw the remains at the orbs.
There's sticks on the ground that it was made up of. You could pick up those.
Is there rocks? Ah, nah. I'm just gonna. Yeah. I'm just gonna use the um lunge attack on the orbs.
Okay, roll an attack.
And that is. Holy shit, 27.
That hits.
That's 2d6 plus 10. That's 17 points of bludgeoning.
You smash the rings of the last creature, leaving you and the dragon there. The dragon barely. She's looks to be awake and conscious. She just looks very, very weak at the moment. And you can see
Alright,
she
I'm
has
gonna-
very large gashes across her neck and her body. One of her wings looks badly torn up. This dragon is also very significantly larger than you.
I'm gonna roll to transform out, so I got a 17. I think that's what I need to roll.
Yeah, I think you have to roll. It's as long as it's greater than 16. 16 or greater, I mean.
Okay. So I transform out, and I'm just gonna rush over and well, pour a greater healing potion. So I got 2 left.
Just into her giant, massive jaws.
Yeah.
Because she is a gargantuan creature for you.
Good God.
This is a full-size dragon. You dump this healing potion as best you can into. Well, it's not hard. You dump it into her mouth, though.
I think I can climb in her mouth for God's sakes.
You definitely could. Is it recommended? Probably not. But you definitely
Absolutely
could.
not.
You pour this healing potion though, like into her mouth or whatever, and she kind of, after you do so, kind of closes her lips a little bit. Kind of is like moving. It's like getting a drop of water, like a single drop.
I was just gonna say sorry. That's all I could do. I'm not a magic user.
Without her even opening her mouth, you hear within your head a female's voice that says, "Why would you come to the aid of a creature such as myself?"
Well, you were in trouble, so I figured why not? You're not the first dragon I've helped.
Hmm.
Am I not supposed to?
It's not that you're not supposed to, it's unexpected.
Oh yeah, I'm all about that.
There's kind of a pause for a moment. She says, are there others with you?
Errol, after the other fight and then this, just kind of like pops a squat down and leans back and is like, "Yeah, we just finished fighting some of those creatures ourselves. I heard the commotion up here, so
I see. I assume you all do not have a place to rest for the night. And you see her kind of slowly lift her head again, Some of the wounds have actually healed a little bit. She's
We're
kind
trying to make it to that floating island. Gotta kill some tabaxi lady. I'd recommend you stay away from her. She has a tendency to kill dragons.
So the rumors I've heard have been true. And you watch as she kind of like gets onto her feet, her form almost starts to shrink, ever so slowly. But you can keep talking.
What do you mean shrink? What is it shrinking
She
to?
is getting smaller and smaller and becoming more and more humanoid in turn. And if you're just gonna pause and watch this, you watch as she becomes a kind of this amethyst dragonborn type appearance, wearing kind of this robe, kind of appearing as she finishes this transformation. And she, after doing this, kind of collapses back onto a rock, kind of panting heavily.
Hmm.
You can see now the cuts are more visible on her because being bigger, it might have been harder to see some of the cuts. It looks like she was thrown through a briar patch.
Errol's gonna get up. How tall is she?
In this form, roughly like 6'3", but she's like sitting down right now, leaned against a rock.
Hmm. Errol's gonna whistle for Toothless. Which I forgot to roll initiative for him
He
in
would
the
have
last
he would have
fight.
fled. He would have fled.
I am not shocked whatsoever. That's that's my boy.
The rest of you would hear Toothless bark from kind of somewhere else down the path and bolt past the rest of you and go up the mountainside that Errol went up and then disappear over the ridge.
How torn up is this dragonborn?
You wouldn't be able to see her, but for Errol's sake, like not on the cuff of life, but enough she has enough injuries that if they're not treated, they could be fatal.
Okay. So is the rest of the party catching up to Errol by now?
If you're following Toothless.
Journey would at least.
Okay. You follow
Would-
behind Toothless.
Yeah.
So it'd probably be Toothless and then Journey quick behind.
Galnora would be following close to Journey, and Cal would probably be curious but cautious of this whole thing.
Before
Going, I guess Leo would go too.
once Toothless gets up there, and then Errol starts seeing the rest of the party, Errol's just gonna kind of lean in towards this Dragonborn and whisper, "Yeah, I'll keep the secret if you want me to."
She kind of waves a hand and says, "It does not matter regardless. I do not sense hostile intentions from any of you."
Journey would kind of slowly approach the dragonborn and see her wounds, and seeing those wounds, she'd go on her knee and kind of reach out an arm and touch her hand and cast Cure Wounds at the 7th level.
Okay.
So she'll heal 27.
27. You see some more of the wounds kind of heal up. It doesn't do a whole lot for her. It does stop a lot of the bleeding, but the wounds themselves are still very much there.
That's what I can do for now.
She gives the
We
nod and
need
says, "It's appreciated." She kind of,
I need to stand.
yeah, as you kind of say that, she kind of slowly tries to get to her feet and kind of staggers slightly before kind of holding herself up, kind of pressing against the rock that she was leaning against. Cal kind of,
Errol would gesture for Toothless to go act as support.
Cal kind of comes up and gently places a hand on her shoulder as well, and he's going to cast Cure Wounds as well. And you see a bit more of the wounds kind of clear up. Kind of the bigger ones seem to shrink down into more manageable cuts, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And she kind of gives a nod, kind of appreciative nod, and kind of, as Toothless kind of gets into a position, kind of leans against him a little bit, says, I know a place that you can rest for the night, if you so wish.
Do you have a name, friend?
The Stillo.
Stillo? I'm Journey. Good to meet you.
The pleasure is all mine. She's going to start moving forward with the help of Toothless, who's going to stay by her side, and Cal's going to stay close as well.
Do you know anything about that floating island?
I do not. I just know of the things that are coming from that island.
The big, scary, spherical ring eye creatures, I'm guessing.
Those and a few more.
We just had to run in with some of them.
They've been making more of an appearance around here, and I don't know why.
Wonderful.
She kind of leads you all kind of onto this path into this kind of cave. Going through the cave for a moment, it opens up into almost like this hidden oasis. Kind of a very forested kind of underground area with like a hole in the top of this cavern that shows up to the sky. Something that would be like extremely difficult to find. Am I thinking? I think I'm thinking of the Fountain of Youth scene in the last like Pirates of the Caribbean, where it's like the big nice area and there's like a spotlight down on it. Maybe I'm thinking of a different movie. I can't think of which one I'm thinking of. But she leads you into the space towards this waterfall. And she takes a moment as she stands there and just says, if you all wish to go behind the waterfall, I will open the door for you. And she steps away from Toothless and lets herself fall into the water. And after a moment or two of like you watch her sink a bit, the rest of you now see as she returns back to her true form and begins to dive into the depths of this very large, or very deep kind of pond this waterfall is running into, and disappears from sight.
Mm. She's a dragon, by the way.
Neat.
Cal kind
Mhm.
of looks in shock a little bit. Just says, so it seems.
Who would have thought? Not me.
Well, at least she's an ally of some sort. Or at least friendly.
Mm. She was getting attacked by a bunch of those creatures. Some wooden ones. I haven't seen those before.
I'm not a fan of that.
They hurt.
We probably
Journey will
should.
kind of follow after the dragonborn dragon lady.
Oh, she said go behind the waterfall.
Yeah, should
Okay.
do that.
When you get to the waterfall, roll me a strength saving throw for me, or strength check. Actually,
This is-
athletics for me. It's athletics. That's what I'm thinking of. Roll an athletics check.
2. I got a nat.
You slip and you fall and you land in the pond. And you will take 1 point of bludgeoning damage as you hit the rocks.
How much?
1 point.
Okay.
Errol's gonna come up and pick you up from behind, just kind of flying as he grabs you up.
I'm not sure how the physics is working, but thank you.
Well, you fell down. He's like grabbing by your shoulders and lifting you up.
Shit.
As you're kind of dragged towards like the edge again, Gelnora kind of comes over and like fishes you out of the water. And she, without letting go of you, is going to try to step through the waterfall, but she is going to go into bear form while she does this. Because it gives her advantage on her strength stuff. She's going to pass. So she is going to drag both you and herself through there as a bear.
Journey's just gonna allow it.
Yeah, you're just kind of dangling in her arms because she goes from like being this like huge like 6'7" person to like almost being 8 feet tall when she goes werebear.
Listen, when you have an opportunity to get princess carried, you're gonna take it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what she does. She's essentially bear hugging you as she carries you through. No pun intended.
Ha ha ha.
Cal is going to look at the waterfall, kind of slowly approach it for a second, and then he's going to attempt to walk through. He's going to pass, so he's going to be able to get through. He slips a tiny bit, but he does make it through.
Can I shadow step?
Yes, you can. So Errol just onto the other side. And Draka.
Yeah, I'm staying outside.
You're staying outside? Alright. Draka's gonna go find a tree to sleep in. Leo, what are you gonna do?
I'm sorry, I missed it. I went to take a piss. What? We sleeping?
There's a waterfall that everyone else except for Andraka has tried to pass through, and they're all on the other side of it.
I'll do the same thing,
Athletics check.
bro. That one.
You were going to slip and fall as Journey did, and you were going to take 4 points of bludgeoning damage as you hit your head against the rocks. But you can try again. You can climb out and try again.
Can't just swim through it.
No. Because the waterfall hits the rocks that are on the other side of it.
Hmm.
The rest of you do hear a crack as Leo hits the ground.
Nat 20.
Second time you're able to get through. Kind of a big old welt appearing on the side of your head, but you pass through, and on the other side you all find yourselves in front of these large kind of golden doors. Let me pull up the description of these doors. You see these two large let me find the door itself. The doors are kind of made of a mix of iron, platinum, and gold. The engravings and details showing the head of a phoenix extruding from the door with its wings spread out across its entirety, flames rising up beneath it as it takes flight. You do see a set of runes on the bottom of it, each with kind of one representing each of the different schools of magic. But as you're kind of like admiring this door and looking at it, it slowly begins to open. And as it opens up, on the other side, you see Distillo as the Dragonborn once more, standing on the other side of the door. On the other side, this kind of large, like 50-foot by 25-foot platform is there, and beyond it, over this kind of what almost looks to be a hole of some sort within this cavern, there is an obsidian tower that seems to be upside down attached to the ceiling.
Hmm. I wish I was a bat.
I wish I was a pet. She says, I'm sure the friend of mine who lives within the tower would not mind if you were to use his guest chambers.
There's
Or
someone else?
yes.
Sorry, my bad.
There's someone else? What? uh she says, or you can always just sleep on this out here if you would like.
Mm. What? How big is this cavern?
Um Beyond the platform, it looks to be like probably 100 150 feet in diameter, kind of a circular cavern. Um and there is no like corners between walls and ceiling. It's like a smooth transition between the floor to the to wall to the ceiling. Like there are no rough surfaces. It is all smooth within this cave. Um, and looking at the this cavern as well, the part that dips down where this tower is, kind of this 100-foot wide, 150-foot wide area. It looks like a pit that just never ends. You don't see the bottom.
Good lord. Hmm. I might sleep out here. Where are you sleeping?
You're talking to Distilla?
Yeah.
My dwelling, which is below.
In the pit?
It's not exactly what you think it would be, but I would recommend trying to go down there.
Why?
The gravitation down there is off, and it's my doing for my own safety.
So I'd be crushed or something?
It's a possibility.
Oh, that's not fun. Would your friend mind if I said hi, or do they prefer to be left alone?
He is currently not here at the moment, though I know some of his uh I guess the only good way to call them is clones are here, as well as one of his research hands.
Research hands. Sounds like an interesting character. Hmm. I'll say I'll pop by in the morning.
She kind of gives a nod, just says, there's no need to try to keep watch or anything. You all should be able to rest peacefully here.
Errol's still gonna keep watch at some point.
And she's going to walk over to the edge, and is just going to step over the edge and let herself fall headfirst. And she's going to disappear into the pit. So all of you are now sitting within this cavern, except for Andraka, who stayed out in the kind of forested area. You all going to rest for the night?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You all begin to rest and begin to find yourselves slowly drifting off, as it is a bit difficult for you to do so. We're going to end tonight's episode. So I'm going to just do the wrap up and then we
mission.
talk afterwards. We hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, follow us on Twitch, join the Discord, or follow us on Twitter for updates whenever we go live. And if you want to listen to previous episodes, go check out the YouTube page where we have the nicely curated playlist of every single campaign that we've ever done, whether completed or not completed, or abandoned and other things. So we hope you guys enjoyed. Hope to see you all in the next one. Peace.